you're hearing the sound of our voice either way, hello and welcome. Of course, you got the one and only Mr.
and Mrs.
Smith, your 5-day credit restoration challenge instructors. And over these past 4 days, hopefully you've been getting some nuggets. Of course, we're on day 4, but let's talk about day 1. Day 1, we talked to you all about payment history. Basically just the history as it relates to how well you have been making payments. You see, that's 35% of your credit score. That's all centered around the payment history. And we told you what the solution was to that, those 4 letters. So in day 1, we gave you the problem, the percentage that is worth, and the solution to that. On day 2, it was all about credit utilization. And what we really love about credit utilization is that credit U is all about you. You see, that's 30% of your credit score, but it's centered around you just making sure that you're not overusing your credit. It's centered around that revolving debt, those credit cards, and keeping those balances as low as you possibly can. That's credit utilization. We told you all about it and how to solve it with strategy, not just getting stuff removed. You see, that's what most credit repair companies don't have an answer for, but we do. And day 3, we was all about the credit history. This is basically just your length of credit. And you know, sometimes on that, you might have to solve that problem by being added as an authorized user. We told you all about that on day 3, but now we are at day 4, and day 4 is all about new credit. You see, we've been giving you things and nuggets and tips, and hopefully you've been doing your homework, taking the action steps that we've given you after each day. And if you haven't, shame on you. Go back, get it done, because the time is ticking, because we're coming close to an end. But let's talk about today. Let's talk about day 4, new credit. You see, on the first 3 days, 30% or 35% plus 30% plus another 15% got you a total of 80%. So today, let's talk about 10% of the 20 that's left in your credit score.
Yes, most definitely. All right, so this is what you got to understand about new credit. You are rebuilding trust, okay? Have you ever heard that Janet Jackson line? What have you done for me lately? Well, that is applicable when you're building new credit. You got to understand is one of the best ways to cover up a negative is with a lot of positives, okay? What that means is this. The highest impact is recent activity. So let's say you have a negative item that's 6 years old. It will not have as much of an impact as positive items 2 months old, okay? New credit allows you to prove that you've changed. You've turned over a new leaf, okay? Trust is gained slowly over time. What that basically means is, you guys, you're rebuilding trust. You're trying to prove yourself. You may get approved for a $200 limit or a $300 limit. It's something be very, very beneficial in this category, okay? Creditors want you as a consumer. This is what you got to understand. But they want to see how you are going to handle your finances. Think about it. Creditors would not be in business if they didn't have us as customers, okay? And this whole credit game, as you can see, it is definitely a game. Go ahead and take that home.
Yes, I love it. You said it. I couldn't have said it any better myself. So just understand that you build a new trust. You may start off small, but it's something that you can do in order to start taking advantage of that 10%. We're all about collecting as many of those points as you possibly can, and this is the segue into you claiming new credit, rebuilding trust. And I love the fact that new positive replaces old negative.
Yes.
You see, that's applicable in life and in your credit. Positive will always outweigh the negative. So keep that in mind as you build your credit. Let's talk about the next segment. Now, new credit, we always tell you, we address the whole score. This is not the first time you've seen this slide. This slide is pretty much incorporated in most of these because we really want to reiterate the fact that we focus on the whole score, not just one part of the score, not just a snippet of the score, which is what most people do. They only focus on one part. Well, credit is a holistic thing. So let's talk about the whole credit score. You see, your score range, as we've told you, is 300 to 850 points, which means that the available points to you is 550 points. So there's 550 points that's available to you that you need to try to collect as often and as many ways as you possibly can, using the factors that we're giving you, because that's That's all you have to accomplish in order to have great credit. So what new credit does is tackle that 10% of your credit score. You see, we showed you about the 80%, but this 10% will get you to that 90%. So 10% of your new credit is contingent upon, or 10% of your score is contingent upon new credit. Now, what that means is new credit equals 55 max points. That's the maximum amount of points you can get. But it's something. Is you add to the pieces of all of the other percentages, and most of the time, creditors don't necessarily know how to help you get all of these things, but that's why you're here. But this is what you want to do. You got to be aware of too many credit inquiries. You see, when you're talking about inquiries, there's a difference between a hard inquiry and a soft inquiry. You see, a soft inquiry, if you have decent credit, many times you may get letters in the mail where they're pre-approving you for a different credit card. That's considered to be a soft inquiry, because what they did is they just pulled up enough information about you to see that you fit a description of somebody that they would like to have as a borrower, somebody they would like to have as a customer. So it's a soft inquiry, and it doesn't affect your credit. A hard is if you're going out applying for new credit cards and auto loans and getting declined, and it's affecting you on a small point basis, but it can add up. Anywhere from 2 to 4%, it's affecting your credit. So just imagine how much it can do if you're doing that over and over and over. And we were thinking about this, and we were like, wow, this would not be a time for a person to want to be persistent. You know, like if you're filing or applying for credit, you don't want to keep applying for credit and getting denied and doing it over and over and over again. Because what it does is those 2 to 4 points add up, and over time you got a surplus of dings because of hard inquiries. And that's what you got to understand. You don't want to do too many of those. Now, this can be hard to get if your history is bad, and it may require some upfront money, because sometimes you got to take a step back in order to take a leap forward. So if you have to put up a little money in order to get available new credit, then do what you have to do, and we'll show you the savvy way, the smart way, the strategic way to do it, because we're all about strategy. But sometimes it may be hard to get that history, but be willing to put up a little money and make it all worthwhile.
Yes, most definitely. Now, you can be persistent about a lot of things, but if you know that you already have a bad credit or poor credit, or just, you know, it needs some work, don't be so persistent with applying over and over and over again. One of actually give it to us was there was a young lady, 43 hard inquiries, which sounds crazy. Doesn't sound as bad counting against you. When you got that many hard inquiries, I mean, that's dipping your points over 100 points because you're trying. Just because you're trying to get approved for something. So that makes absolutely no sense. Let's keep going.
And then the thing about that is, you know, it's a solution for that. We told you about 4 letters, but it's another letter that can clean that up. But yes, don't even put yourself in that position if you don't have to. And we'll show you how to avoid that strategic.
Okay, so here's one of the solutions, you guys, is a secured credit card, okay? This is basically, you can get a credit card by securing the card with a cash deposit. What he just stated, you guys, Marcus just said, sometimes to clean up that bad credit, you guys, it may cost you a little bit of money. It may cost you investing in yourself. So let's talk about the way that a secured credit card works, okay? You actually do have to put down a cash deposit. So let's say you have $500. You can put down that $500 and you can get a secured credit card with a $500 balance on it. Okay, so basically you put up all the money that you're going to be spending. That way, if you fall short, if you're late on a payment, hey, the money is basically already covered. That's how these companies are able to continue to work. You're putting up the money, and guess what? It actually helps you. It's your money and it helps your score. So when you think about it, it is a really good way to build and establish that new credit. You use the card and you pay off the balance frequently. Now, here's the thing. There's a myth out there. And the myth is, no, if you use your card and you pay it off that Friday, then that won't really affect your score, and that's not true. This can help your score tremendously, especially if you're using something like a secured credit card. Now, what you do want to watch still, even though you put up the money, you want your credit utilization. Keep it in the single digits, you guys. The example of the $500 that you put up for your secure card. Guys, go out to lunch, pay it off on Friday. You see what I'm saying? Put some gas in your car, pay it off on Friday, but you still have to be extremely disciplined. Don't think that the discipline can go out the door because you put the money up front. We're working on building your credit, okay? And it's going to take some time. Now, what you've got to be aware of are the cards with the annual fees and the very high interest rate. See, there are companies that are designed to take advantage of you, okay? That's all they want to do is take advantage of you, especially if you're relying on credit. If you're in a bind. You want to take that part away?
I mean, this is the thing. They take advantage of you. So what you have to do is just be savvy on the front end so that you're not trying to dig yourself out of the hole when it's a little too late. So what you want to do is try to avoid the annual fees, make it a 0 annual fee, and look for something that's under 25%. We'll dive a little deeper into that, but something that's under 25%. Now, 25% is still high, I must be honest, but when you're building your credit, sometimes you just have to make that move, and then once your credit is built, then you can do some negotiating and work things out.
Yes, but don't be taken advantage of, you guys, because some of these companies out here, they know that you're fully relying on your credit card. Basically, you need the money, okay? Kind of the last thing, this is what's supplementing your income in between your paychecks, right? But you want to make sure, see, what we mean by annual fees, you guys, is basically at the beginning of every single year, you're hit with a fee just for having that card open, just for keeping that account active. So even though we don't recommend you closing your cards, okay, we talked about that, we don't recommend it. Sometimes you just have to really see if it's of benefit to you. Annual fee, and let's say it's $200, $300. I mean, there's some crazy numbers out there just to keep the card open. Is that really, truly benefiting you? And for most people, it's not. So you want to be aware of the companies that take advantage of you, and the best way to do that, you guys, is for you to make the good decision on the front end, not on the back end. You don't want to wait until you've had this card for a year and then that fee actually kicks in before you realize it was not a good decision. So do your homework on the fees before you apply for that card, and we're going to go a little bit deeper.
I love it. I love it. Now, another solution, because you know we're all about solutions. We list the problems, the things that people are dealing with, but we love to provide solutions because that's what gets the job done. Now, yes. Another solution is the credit rebuilder loan. Secure credit card positions you to have new credit in the form of revolving debt. Because it's still a credit card, you just put up the money in order to secure it. Well, a credit rebuilder, this is installment debt. Of course, you can see it. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I just want you to know that there is a difference in how beneficial it is to have a combination of them both, and just make you aware of it. So banks usually offer the rebuilder loan program, and what this is you'll basically put your money in a CD, and you use the CD as collateral against the loan. So the CD is frozen until the loan balance is paid. So let's just say, for example, you go to your bank, and credit unions are known for being great at, offering these, but depending on your bank, you may be able to pull this off. You go to your bank, they have a CD, and you say you want to put $1,000 into a CD, knowing that this is your strategy to help you build your credit. And it could be a lower number. I just use 1,000 just for good numbers. And you say, hey, I would like to use my CD as collateral and set up a credit rebuilder loan. They'll know exactly what that is that you're referring to, so they'll freeze the CD so it cannot be used. So now it's like you owe $1,000. Basically, you're paying back the money that you put into the CD. Once that installment loan has been fulfilled, that credit rebuilder loan has been fulfilled, then they can unfreeze it, but you pick up the good payment history that comes from that. So this all qualifies as an installment loan. Some other examples of installment loan is a car note or a home, basically because you cannot run it up. Once it's paid off, it's usually done with and paid off. So we're all about strategy, all about being strategic. So credit rebuilder loan is definitely something for you to consider, and just know that you have to put up the money, the collateral, in order to do it, but it is worth it.
Yes, most definitely, you guys. If you don't know what a CD is, it is the certificate of deposit.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why this is also really, really important and it's beneficial is that it actually is reported under your payment history. Okay, so payment history is what we discussed day one, which accounts for 35% of your score. So it's like a win-win. You're getting some new credit as well as this will be reflected under your payment history if you keep up, of course, good payment history. So as you guys, all about strategy. Strategy will trump everything. As long as you have a good strategy, a good game plan, you understand the game, you can definitely get on top of this credit and you can definitely get a perfect score. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Let's give them some homework.
I love it. Action steps. You see, we talk to you from a place of education and really want to empower you so you can be equipped to conquer this thing called credit. But nothing happens without taking some action. So you made it through all the way to day 4, and let's talk about the action.
And don't forget, y'all, little disclaimer, before we get deep into these actions, you want to make sure that if you have that credit, you're not jumping straight into getting new credit. Go ahead.
Now, another disclaimer is new credit may not be the solution for you if you're going through a hard time, if you're going through a struggle, if ends aren't meeting. Reason being is if you acquire this new credit and you're not in a position to pay it back properly, accordingly, then what you did was just affect your payment history. You just affected your credit utilization, all because you started the new credit process, but the financial situation didn't necessarily call for you to take this angle of a strategy and start applying for new credit. So know where you are, be real, and be authentic as it relates to transparency so you can know the best angle, best strategy to implement in order to benefit from new credit. So we got to throw that out there. You know, we always want to put you up on game so you don't get caught off guard. Now, this is what you can do, and we'll go through it with you. If you want to go through these, then I'll cover the website.
Most definitely. First thing, you guys, go to bankrate.com and check out the secured credit cards, okay? They have a lot of options. We're actually going to show you the site, so make sure you stay on this video to the end. Next, you want to look for a card with no annual fee and interest rates less than 25%. Yes, you heard that correct. Look for a card. I'm not telling you to jump into anything. We're just looking. We're just shopping around, okay? Look for a card with no annual fee and interest rates less than 25%. Then what you want to do, let's take it a step further. You want to call the credit card company and just ask about their approval process, you guys. Look, this is an opportunity for you to be as transparent as possible, okay? I'm a caller. I love hopping on their phone, and look, all you have to do is just tell them, this is my situation. My score is 550. You know, I have this many late payments on my report. I have this going on. I have this going on. Do I qualify? So you see what you just did there, you guys. You asked questions for one, which is awesome. You're being transparent. But the main thing is you just avoided a hard inquiry by just calling the credit card company and asking, what's your approval process? Do I qualify based on what I just told you? And you guys, if they tell you no, that's fine. Keep looking around. But the main thing is you just saved yourself a hard inquiry on your report. Another thing you can do is check with your local bank or credit union and ask about their credit rebuilder loan. Same thing. Tell them your credit situation. Be transparent and see, period, point blank, will I qualify if I go through this bank? Okay, and again, if they say no, there are other options out there. It's just a matter of you really trying to build trust, you being transparent. You got to understand a lot of these companies, some of them do really want to help you, but you got to make sure you're helping yourself, and you have to make sure you're being honest about where you are.
And this is the thing, you know, this might be a good opportunity for you to go through something like the myfico.com where we talked about, you know, it may cost you to pull your numbers, but once you pull your numbers, now you're in a position because you know what you have, and as you share that with them, you know what to avoid. So it saves you time and dings from the hard inquiries that she stated. Now, let's talk about bankrate.com. So what I'm going to do is escape out of the screen here. Boom, we'll be back there, and we got bankrate.com pulled up. Now, this is a site that you can go to and look up all of the things that we listed, but just so you don't get too lost in everything that this actually has to offer, let's focus on these credit cards right here. So as you can see, it's a drop-down screen that says credit cards, and it says compare by credit needed. So they have options for people with excellent credit, options for people with good credit, fair credit, bad credit, no credit history at all. They got it all, and based on your scenario, this is something that you can look into. But for the sake of this video, for the sake of new credit, let's talk about the secured credit cards. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on the secured credit cards, and let's see what pops up. Now, keep in mind, what we're looking for with the secured credit cards, and hopefully you can complete my sentence, is we're looking for 0 annual rate, and we're looking for less than 25%. That's what we're looking for. So here are the best secured credit cards of 2019 according to bankrate.com. Now, once you go through this, we're not having you to apply directly through bankrate.com. You're going to actually call and find out different things that they can do, or, you know, what best situation fits you. But we just at least want to let you know where to access all of this stuff so you can see what there is available. So the best secured credit cards of 2019, Capital One, that was one of the first credit cards I had. I remember it had like a $300 limit, and, you know, I had a good standing with it. But Capital One Secured MasterCard. So what I want you to look at is at the top. It tells you the annual fee. Awesome. 0. But we also told you to pay attention to the interest rate. So the regular APR on this is 26.99%. So the annual percentage rate on this one is 26.99%, just about 27. We told you to aim for less than 25. 25 is still high, but we at least want you to set yourself up so later when you bounce back, you can transition. Because once you get into one of these cards, once your credit gets good, a lot of times you can negotiate and roll it over into another one of their products or cards that allows you to benefit by having a lower interest rate and lower annual fees or no annual fees, and you having a higher credit limit. But let's see what else they have available on this list. Discover Secured. So on the Discover Secured, there's some other details. It comes with the cash back. Cash back is good because when you spend, there's different points and things that you're earning during the process of spending and paying it all off. The annual fee on this is $0 as well. But let's go down to the APR. 25.24. So we're almost there. We're getting close to under that 25%, but just know what your options are. And it even tells you details about, you know, the bad credit to limit. Like, it lets you know where this person may be who may qualify for this card. So it just kind of lets you know. I'm going to go through this next one just so you can see that there are some under 25% that exist. The annual fee on this one, and this is a city card. I'm sure you're familiar with this company here. The annual fee, $0, but the regular APR is right under that 25%. So these are some just for you to consider. And, of course, there are a lot more, but at least you know where to look and how you can go about obtaining the cards that fit the criteria that we're seeking.
Yes, and you guys, even in some of these descriptions, I've seen it earlier, it'll even show you what the balance is. Like Marcus said, he had a Capital One card. It had a $300 limit. Please understand the limits are going to be small on these secure cards. You're not getting $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 limits. You're getting small limits because, again, with new credit, you're trying to prove yourself. You're trying to boost your score, okay? So in the description, it does also show you the maximum balance that you can actually qualify for as well. Like this one says, you will have a $200 credit limit. Okay, so that's another thing that you want to look at. Again, this is something for like Gas, pay it off at the end of the week. Lunch, pay it off at the end of the week. But keep in mind that credit utilization, please, y'all, with a $200 balance is really, really small, especially if we recommended you keeping your credit utilization in a single-digit percentage, okay? So you have to be extremely disciplined with these cards because the utilization, keep in mind, is a bigger chunk of your score.
And if it's $200,
yeah,
that means $19.
Exactly.
So $20 is 10%. But you know, we understand you heard under 30%, but just so we can make sure that you're on the straight and narrow and on track to getting that 850 credit score, single digit is what a lot of people with great credit strive to carry. So just wanted to throw that out there as we wrap this thing on up. So you heard about all of the action steps and things that you need to do in order to start moving in the right direction. This is just all about making phone calls and just looking into it. We're not saying jumping into it, look into it. It's a big difference. So hopefully you got some value from this presentation as well. Hopefully you're ready to take action, and I really just want you to get at the edge of your seats, because day 5 we're going to bring it all home for you. We're going to bring it all to life for you. You see, we're giving you a lot over these 4 days, and hopefully if you're taking it serious and you ask to be a part of this group, that you're really valuing your own time. You see, it's bigger than us. We're going to educate and empower people regardless, but when you raised your hand and said you wanted to be in this group, now it's all about you taking the time out to do the daily small things so you can lead up to what we have for you in day 5, and you can really conquer your credit and get on track to acquiring the things that you would love to acquire. So get ready for day 5. We're coming to a close. Time flies so fast, but we wanted to give you value on top of value on top of value, and we're not done giving you value. Day 5 is right around the corner.
Exactly. 5 days, you guys, of jam-packed free game. Okay, so we definitely want you to make sure you're tagging the people that you invited to the group. Hold them accountable, you guys. We're giving you action steps every day. Make sure that they're doing them alongside yourself, okay? Make sure that you're holding yourself accountable. And make sure, you guys, you're just spreading the word. After this 5-day challenge, let them know how you feel, what you learned. We love the testimonies. We love the feedback. And day 5, you are in for a treat. For real.
Absolutely. And it was just another, since we're talking about values, another piece of value that I failed to mention, but I know it's strongly important. As it relates to you giving or making phone calls, make sure that when you're dealing with these creditors, and even though you're applying for a secured credit card, if you're putting up the money, make sure that they're not going to ding you with a hard inquiry, because oftentimes if you're putting up the money, putting up the collateral, they will waive their hard inquiry, so that way you can get into that secured credit card, all because you funded it and you put the money down. So just wanted to add that tidbit because it was a nugget that I didn't want to leave off, so that way you don't feel as if it's an obligation. There's always room for negotiation. But day 5 is right around the corner. We said it, we meant it. Don't miss it. Stick around to the very, very end, because it will be well worth your time. We'll make it worth your while.
Yes, that's all we got for you guys. Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
signing out.